I stood in the middle of my living room, staring at the glittering "Happy Birthday" banner still taped to the wall. A cake sat untouched on the kitchen counter. Red velvet. My favorite. I was wearing the dress he bought me last year, a soft midnight blue satin that clung in all the right places. I had just touched up my lipstick when I saw it. A plain white envelope on the dining table. Not a card. Not a love letter. But a divorce letter. And next to it, his side of the closet, completely empty. I do not know what broke me more. The silence. The lack of goodbye. Or the moment my phone rang and I saw her name. Mercy. My twin sister. "Joy," she said, breathless like she had been running through guilt. "I know this is the worst time, but I need to tell you something. I am in love with Stanley. And he loves me too." I could hear her crying. I could also hear the laughter of guests in the background. A celebration was already happening. But what she did not know, what neither of them knew, was that I had been ready for this moment for months. And what I did at their wedding, it left the entire guest list too stunned to speak. Before I go on, I just want to say thank you. If you are subscribed to this channel, I truly appreciate you. You are the reason I have the courage to keep sharing stories like mine. And if you are new here or watching without subscribing, welcome, and I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that keeps this channel alive. Please do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your voices. Now let us get back into the storm that changed everything. My name is Joy Dawson, and I turned 34 in the cold heart of Alaska, in the middle of a betrayal I never truly expected, but somehow always sensed. I met Stanley when I was 25. He was 30 and charming in a way that made people lean in when he spoke. He was never loud. He was deliberate. Smooth. And I was the quiet twin, the one who blended in while Mercy, my mirror image, soaked up every room like sunlight. Stanley and I were married within a year. Fast forward to last fall, and things had already started to feel off. He stopped texting me during lunch breaks. He started turning his phone over every time he placed it on the table. He would say he was working late, but come home with freshly washed hair. The worst part? He was not cruel. He was kind. He held me in bed, kissed my forehead, told me he loved me, while carrying a double life behind my back. At first, I thought I was paranoid. I even asked Mercy if she thought I was imagining things. She told me I was just overthinking it. "You know Stanley adores you," she had said, placing her hand over mine. Her hand had his cologne on it. That was the first time I really knew. But I said nothing. Because I wanted to be sure. Because I needed proof. And maybe, deep down, I wanted them to feel safe so I could take it all away when the time came. I started paying attention. To receipts. To energy. To the way she called me sis like it was a costume. One day, I followed Stanley. He said he was going to a business meeting at the hotel downtown. I arrived 20 minutes later. They were not subtle. I saw them. Together. Laughing like a couple that had just fallen in love. The way he looked at her, the way he used to look at me, burned into my bones like acid. But I did not confront them. Not yet. I had something better in mind. And when the day came that he left me on my birthday, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Some betrayals come with shouting, broken dishes, and slammed doors. Mine came with whispers, quiet glances, gaslighting, lies stitched into smiles. After I saw them together at that hotel, I drove home with my nails digging into the steering wheel, leaving half moons in my palms. I did not cry. I did not scream. I just sat in my driveway for an hour, staring at the house we built together, while realizing it had already been torn down behind my back. That night, Stanley came home humming a tune. He kissed the top of my head like always, asked what I wanted for dinner, then slipped into the shower. I watched him walk away. That was when I made the decision. I would not beg. I would not fight. I would bury every part of me that still wanted him and begin collecting the truth, one ugly piece at a time. Because if he and Mercy thought they could ruin me in silence, I would expose them in front of everyone they loved. Over the next 3 months, I played the role of the doting wife. I smiled through Sunday dinners. I let Mercy braid my hair while I asked her how work was going. I even helped Stanley plan a fake business trip, one I knew was really a getaway with my sister. Every moment was a performance, but while they rehearsed their lies, I documented everything. Receipts, hotel bookings, screen recordings, photos, even audio clips, like the time Mercy said, Joy would break if she ever knew the truth. She had no idea. I was already broken. But sometimes, when you break enough, you stop fearing the fall. I hired a friend from college, Darren, a tech guy now working in cybercrime in Anchorage. He helped me recover deleted texts from an old phone Stanley forgot to wipe. The things I found made my skin crawl. Messages between him and Mercy mocking me. Him calling her the better twin. Mercy saying, I cannot wait to wear white at a real wedding this time. It was always there. The disrespect. The cruelty. They did not just fall in love. They built that love on humiliating me. I started planning my revenge the day Stanley left me on my birthday. It was easy. They assumed I was shattered. But I was planning. So, when I got the formal invitation to their wedding just 6 weeks later, I RSVP'd with a smile. I even sent a generous gift, a designer coffee machine. Something Mercy always wanted. But the real gift? I would be bringing that on the day of the ceremony. I arrived early, in a dark emerald green gown. I wore my hair back in a sleek bun and kept my expression calm. I hugged distant relatives. I nodded politely to friends who looked at me like I was either brave or insane. Mercy tried to avoid me, but I caught her eye before the ceremony began. She smiled, tight and awkward.
Joy.
You came. I would not miss this for the world, I said. And I meant it, because what she could not see was the tiny wireless microphone taped to my chest and the folded speech tucked into my clutch, the speech that would change everything. The ceremony was held outdoors, just outside Anchorage. Pine trees framed the altar like soldiers standing at attention. Snowflakes danced softly in the breeze. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. The chairs were lined with cream-colored sashes. There were gold-rimmed glasses on every table. Mercy stood beneath a floral arch, glowing in a custom lace gown. Her smile was wide and rehearsed. Stanley stood beside her in a tailored tuxedo, smug and hollow-eyed. Everyone believed they were witnessing a love story. They had no idea they were about to watch it fall apart. The officiant cleared his throat. Before we proceed, the bride and groom have allowed a family member to say a few words. That was my cue. I stood up slowly and walked toward the microphone. I could feel every eye following me. A few gasps. One woman whispered, "Is that her?" Yes. It was me, Joy Dawson, the woman they tried to erase. I reached the mic and took a deep breath. My voice came out calm.
Steady.
Good afternoon. For those who do not know me, I am Joy, the bride's twin sister, and Stanley's ex-wife. The silence that followed was thick. I looked directly at Mercy. Her smile vanished. Her hands began to tremble. Stanley's jaw clenched. I want to thank you all for being here, I continued. It means a lot to me to finally have a room full of people see the truth. Then I pulled out the folded pages from my clutch. And I read. I read the timeline of their affair, the weekend hotel stays, the duplicate gifts Stanley gave us both. I read Mercy's text messages mocking me. I read the audio transcription of her saying, "She is just a placeholder until you marry me." I even played one of the audio clips through the speaker system. Mercy laughing, saying, "She has no idea. She is too dumb to notice." People began shifting in their seats. Someone dropped a glass. The officiant stepped back. One of Stanley's groomsmen looked like he wanted to sink into the ground. Mercy stepped forward, her voice sharp.
Joy, stop this.
But I did not. "You left me on my birthday," I said, turning to Stanley. "And you," I turned to Mercy, "you chose yourself over your own blood. I came here today to give you both what you gave me. Public humiliation. The difference is I will survive it.
You will live with it."
Then I turned away and walked back down the aisle, alone, but not broken. Behind me, the crowd erupted. Not in applause, not in cheers, in chaos. Stanley followed me outside, calling my name, begging, swearing it was not what it looked like. But I kept walking. Later that evening, I blocked both of them, changed my number, moved to a new apartment across town. I even cut my hair short. Something about shedding the old me felt like closure. In the weeks that followed, Mercy sent angry emails, then desperate ones. Stanley left voicemails I never listened to. But the best sound of all? Silence. I went back to therapy. I joined a women's writing group. I started journaling. And for the first time in years, I stopped waking up with anxiety in my chest. I was not healing to become lovable again. I was healing to become free. To anyone out there listening, if you have ever been betrayed, used, or made to feel invisible, please hear me. Your pain is not your identity. You are not weak for loving them, but you are powerful for surviving them. Let me know in the comments, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have exposed them like I did? Or walked away quietly? Please like, share, and subscribe if this story moved you in any way. Your support means the world to me. It keeps this channel going and helps stories like mine reach others who need to hear them. Until next time, stay strong, stay soft, and never forget, you are worth the truth.